Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you very much for having me. I much appreciate it. Nice to be back at the Grammy Museum. A quick story, if I may, of how I became involved in this project. Because a friend of ours from Ireland, a guy called Colm O'Herlihy, you can't get more Irish than that, a charming Irishman, called us up and said, he was in Malibu, and we said, great, please come over and visit. And he said, well, can I bring an artist friend with me? And we said, yes, of course. My wife and I were delighted. And that was Laufey. And I didn't know anything about Laufey. I'd never heard of her at that point in time. And eventually, of course, we asked her if she'd be so kind as to give us a song or two at the piano, which she then did. And I was completely bowled over. It reminded me of when I very first heard James Taylor when he rang my doorbell and came upstairs and played me a song. Or when I went to see Linda Ronstadt for the very first time at the Bitter End Cafe in New York, and I was equally dumbfounded that somebody could be that good. I was amazed by what we heard and saw. And so, you know, it was at that point, actually, that, you know, I immediately, when Laufey had gone home, I immediately Spotify'd the Bewitched album and listened to all of that and loved it. And there was one song in particular that made me cry, which was the letter to my 13-year-old self. And that was when, because I was in the process actually of choosing songs for an album I was about to produce with Barbra Streisand. And that was when I immediately grabbed that record and went round to Barbara's house, who also lives in Malibu, and played her the song. And Barbara immediately got it. She loved the song immediately, so much so that she also dispatched one of her assistants, of whom there are several, to please go and find the diary she had written when she was 13, which the assistant successfully did, and was full of thoughts about very similar to what's in the song, about being 13 and what you wish someone had told you at the time. So that was, and as you probably know, we ended up doing that as a duet, and that's how we got to spend time together in the studio and so on. So it's a great pleasure to be here. Now, let's start by talking about the new album, because I thought it's sensational. I mean, I was totally knocked out. I've played it a number of times, and I'm just in love with it. There's so many songs I like a lot. And I originally thought, when I heard about saw the credits written down, I thought, oh, it's a co-production. But not exactly. I mean, and not in the sense that you weren't all there together with two producers discussing it, because there were kind of two teams going on, some of them doing different songs, right?
Yeah, my process with this album, I actually really wanted to be very close to my truth and be as honest as the most honest I've ever been. So actually the songwriting process is all but a cautionary tale I wrote on my own in my bedroom, and then I brought to the different producers that I worked with.
And how did you decide who got what and who worked on what? Because I was impressed by both, but you can tell differences.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Spencer, I've worked with him on my first two albums, so he really gets this kind of mix of classical and jazz and pop that and musical that I really like mixing together. And he's the one that I can be like, I have this Mahler reference, there's like the ancient references, and he always gets it. So I'm just really, really good friends with him too. So I think I can bring like the really, really vulnerable songs to him.
And Aaron Dessner, I've always been a fan of Aaron's. I love The National, and
me too.
And he's made some great records too. But was the process a bit different in each case?
Definitely. It was so fun to get to work with someone like Aaron, who's, been kind of in the pop cycle for a bit, but also is a musician himself and a musician to the core. And I was so excited. I love like his use of strings is a whole lot more minimalistic than I usually do. And I think that brought out kind of like a different side in me. There's a level of speed and shine to his production that I was really craving for this album. So I thought it all kind of came together perfectly.
And the strings on this album sound great. I mean,
Thank you.
Great. And it's mostly just you guys, right?
Yeah, it's just me playing cello on top of cello on top of cello.
And did you orchestrate it all first, and did you orchestrate it all and write it down first?
No, we just do it on the fly. I just sit in front of a microphone and we come up with a line, and then we just harmonize it and build it out.
That's what I wondered, because I mean, pop records get made like that all the time.
Yeah.
But once you're dealing with a classical orchestra, or what became a classical orchestra,
Right.
which was you and you and you.
Yeah, exactly. The
and your
cello is a
sister
very
and-
versatile instrument.
Yeah, and so so that I just wondered that whether you just layered it till it felt right and sounded right.
It's
you know.
usually three of each voice, panned left, right, and center.
And you didn't have a viola at all, or you just
No viola. I'm not a viola hater. I know viola gets a lot of hate.
Well, I was going to ask you because I know
Cello
you.
kind of covers the register.
Yeah, I guess if you get far enough up the fingerboard, you've covered
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. And then, have you ever played one of those weird violins that's got the extra notes in it, so you can play viola stuff? I mean, a five
No,
string.
but I've seen those before.
I've seen those.
Yeah. No, cello kind of gets in. Then sometimes I have my sister play violin.
Right. I know, and she's terrific.
Yeah.
No, I had the pleasure of hearing her. She's an amazing musician.
Yeah, and I can boss her around.
I mean, I was going to ask, I know you may be fed up with telling the story, but how it all sort of began for you. And I guess your remarkably musical family is kind of the beginning of it all. And your mother is a great violinist too, I understand.
Yeah. It all started in the womb. I grew up in a very classical family, and my mom's in the Iceland Symphony. So I just was listening to music on stage, and whether it was in rehearsal or concert, my whole life. And it was something that became a part of my life in a very, very direct way. It was just something that was always there. Like, I don't remember distinctly choosing music. It was just always a part of my life.
And you started learning the piano when you were...
4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it's done, and you probably did hours of practice all the time. And
Oh, yeah. I have a Chinese mother. It's very unforgiving. But I'm very, very happy. I'm so proud. Like, the amount of people I meet in my adult life who wish they kept practicing, and I was like, you're just missing a Chinese mom.
No, I know, exactly, because my mother, well, British rather than Chinese, was in fact a professional orchestral player. She played the oboe.
Oh, yes, that's right.
But she didn't bully me. You know. I was really good at getting out of practicing the piano and learning to read music beyond the most primitive level. And I'm sure you can sight read like a champion, but
I do enjoy sight reading. It does feel like an extra language. I think I also now I see. I mean, you absolutely do not need to sight read to be a musician. But it is kind of like a fun.
No, you don't.
trick
But
that I
it would be so convenient. I mean, I'm deeply jealous of people who can.
for the quick string scoring that we do, it's very convenient.
And
Yeah.
just communication in general, you know.
Yeah.
I still find that, you know, because I can fool people into thinking I can really read music, because I can read the score enough to go, you know, what's wrong, and, you know, make changes and stuff.
Yeah.
But not in a way that, and sight reading terrifies me. I mean, the idea that people can actually read all those different notes at the same time and communicate the different notes to different fingers. I mean, I don't know if there's lots of pianists in the audience, but it's a miraculous skill, I think.
I don't know, chords scare me a lot more. Like, you know, like jazz, right? It took me a really long time when I went to Berkeley to change from like the classical writing over to just like writing chords and improvise, and that was really scary to me.
Well, some of those chords are terrifying when it's add this and add that. You know?
Exactly, adding a lot of things.
Yeah.
Diminishing things.
I mean, I was the Beatles when they ended. What was it? Can't Buy Me Love, that ends with the 6th chord, I think.
Yeah.
And they thought they'd invented it. You know, they apparently found it in the studio by trying out notes and kind of went, "Oh, that's cool," you know. And George Martin, oddly enough, told them he thought it sounded corny and that they shouldn't do it, because for him he went, "Oh, that's the 6th," you know. And they went, "Oh, it's someone else."
They were like, "No,
someone else
this is our chord."
Exactly. And they had to be, you know, the Beatles won the argument. They kept the 6th in there because they felt a sense of ownership, but they didn't realize it already had a name invented some years previously.
They're allowed to have that.
And then you also did some stuff. There's what, 2 tracks on the album with the Iceland Symphony?
One track on the album with the Iceland
Okay.
Symphony. Yeah, it's the song "Forget Me Not."
That's
and
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Which sounds beautiful. And where did you record that?
In Iceland, at the Harpa Music Hall, where I also recorded my symphony albums, and I also played in my youth orchestra on that stage, and it's where my mom goes to work every day, so it felt very special.
Amazing. Does the Iceland Symphony tour much? I mean, do they
They
play?
do, yeah. They played in LA actually like a decade ago, but they do. They're going on a Europe tour this year.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
So they play in London and stuff?
Yeah, they played in London right before COVID. I remember that.
Oh, right. But
We're
COVID
both touring musicians.
played a role in your career, I
Oh,
suppose,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
not necessarily a bad one.
No,
in a
not,
way.
I mean, terrible time in the world,
Of
but
course.
definitely gave me that vacuum of time that I needed to be able to take chances and hone my craft. I was always fearful of losing out on time and wasting time. And for the first time in forever, there was just like this, what I thought would be a 2-week break that I could just experiment and try to post videos online and write. And I did. And it just started. Turns out people did want to hear a girl play cello and sing jazz standards along to it. But it was really built my confidence in a way that I don't know if I would have had that idea.
Was that kind of the first time you thought you might be able to make a living out of music, or had you had that ambition earlier, or did you think that was even possible?
I did not think it was possible. I was so reluctant. I was such a realist growing up, and I didn't want to. I don't know. I think I was really, really scared of failing, and I'd never seen anybody make the music that I loved. I make the music with references harking back to jazz music and classical music,
right.
but we're ultimately telling stories about their own lives and modern artists that I could actually go to concerts and see. So I suppose I didn't believe that was even possible, that there was even an audience for it. So I was just really, really excited that other people liked this sound.
And also that I mean, exactly, because the subject matter with classical music, I suppose it's rare that people are taken by necessarily the lyrics of a Schubert song or something.
Yeah.
It's mostly the melody that gets to you.
Is.
Whereas with pop music, the lyric about yourself and your feelings becomes extremely significant.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, that's the nature of the song.
Well, that's why I love pop music. I've always loved pop music, and I think there's a level of expression. Pop music is always saying what's happening in the world. Like when you look to the past, and I always wanted to just talk about my life and talk about what was happening. I didn't necessarily want to sing something that some man wrote in the 1700s.
Exactly, in a foreign language half the
in
time.
a foreign language, exactly. But there's such a beauty to me to be able to blend those worlds together. And I love classical music so much and really want to make a point out of making it more accessible. And that was the pop music of its time. It can just be something,
Of course it was.
enjoyable, and you don't need to be highly educated in it to
And
be
the same
able
with
to enjoy
operas, which deep down are songs about very dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
That still applies today.
Exactly.
Even if they are in Italian, but they still propound, and also have some of the great melodies just on their own. You listen
Great
to
melodies, and they're all in the public domain. Like, I always tell songwriters, I'm like, low key, go listen to some Beethoven. Like,
yes, a steal from Puccini.
Exactly. Yeah, you're allowed.
Exactly, and that whole genre thing has become sort of a weird red herring, I think, because to me it's not genres that matter. I mean, it's very clear listening to your music that you've listened to Billie Holiday as well as Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
And they're not unrelated, I don't think.
Oh, no, not at all. I think that was a really good line. The Billie Holiday into Billie Eilish, I was like, I saw that in quotation marks on paper. Yeah, no, absolutely. It's something people always ask me about genre, and I'm like, I don't know.
I know. I think it's because it's, as I say, it's clearly you've listened to Chet Baker and Ella Fitzgerald and all that stuff, or for that matter, even Oscar Peterson and John Coltrane.
Yeah. Well, the way I see it is like I am a jazz singer, just as I am a classical cellist. But my music is a mix of everything.
Well, exactly.
The music I create.
Rostropovich or Pablo Casals or something.
Exactly,
at the same time. and as you know, we all of us owe a debt to Bach and stuff that it all came from in the first place. You know,
Yeah,
he's the maestro. And listening to your songwriting, it's clear you're an admirer of the work of Taylor Swift at the same time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Who in a way, in turn, learned in a sense from Joni Mitchell about, you know, that you can write all these songs about yourself and find that they apply to a million people out there. You know.
Yeah, it's about connecting with the world. I mean, growing up, I always say I love jazz music, classical music, and Taylor Swift.
Exactly. And to me, the only thing that matters to me is the snobbery involved, you know. And when I was a kid, the classical people were the worst snobs, you know. They were the ones who looked down upon us entirely. But now I think the jazz people are sort of running them a close second.
Oh yeah. Oh, they're fighting it out at the top. It's very, very funny. I mean, I come from that world. Like I've been that person. I used to be such a classical music snob. I like look back at my high school stuff and I'm like, what was I doing? But you know, I think snobbery ultimately comes from a deep yearning of conservation. It's like you want to protect the same thing, and it comes from love for that. And I'm always like, we have the same goal here, you know.
Exactly.
To keep it alive. I'm just not that
I'm a giant
stressed
bebop
about it.
fan, you know, and I'll go and play Charlie Parker records or, you know, Thelonious Monk records or something for ages.
Yeah.
But I mean, it doesn't mean that they're competing with any other kind of music. But any music that becomes slightly old, you know, and what they call modern jazz is, of course, actually by now an ancient art form.
Right.
You know? So the modern jazz of bebop, but it changed music forever.
Yeah,
You know,
it did.
and made it complicated and exciting.
Complicated and exciting, yeah.
So, I know what I was going to ask you. Is you working with Dudamel when you did Coachella?
Yeah.
Is he as amazingly cool as we all think he is?
He's so cool.
I mean,
he's a rock star.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
He is a rock star, and so cool and so open. And you know, speaking of classical music snobs, he's absolutely not one at all. And he's so respected within the classical world. Like everyone knows him and loves him. But you know, he's a rock star. Like people know who he is. He's a LA icon.
Yeah. Now, did he come through the whole Systema thing?
Yeah. He's an absolute champion of music education, and he's just for the music. I think he said something about like there's no such thing as genres, just good music or bad music or something like that.
Yeah, he did. I think Duke Ellington said that too, or somebody else.
All the geniuses say. I should start saying that. If you catch me quoting that in an interview, don't tell on me.
Exactly. No, that's right. There's only two kinds of music: good music and bad music. Yeah. Marty Bandier is a good friend of mine, and I've spoken at the university thing in Syracuse a few times. And now you have a scholarship going on there or something?
Yeah. We, with the Bandier program at Syracuse, I give a scholarship to a student every year, a master student who's an international student, because I was an international student and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for scholarships. So I wanted to help in every way possible.
Well, I mean, the Grammy Museum and the Grammys as a whole, of course, are incredibly supportive of music education in every way. You know, I was on the board of governors of the Grammys when the decision was originally made to make an award for the music teacher of the year, you know, whatever they call that exactly, something like that. And meeting those people has been inspirational all the time. And the little movie they always make of them in their school doing what they do. And there's people you never would have heard of otherwise. And they're just so impressive. It's
so, I mean, music education is everything to me. I see it from both sides, both as a student of music, but I've grown up around music educators my whole life, and I saw the hours and the time and the love that my mom and my grandparents put into their students. It's like their own children, and I see how they've gone off and succeeded in the world, whether it's in music or not in music, and I just think it's a really, really remarkable thing. I actually started a foundation this year to support young music students in the States.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, when you mention that, it's funny because one of the ironies is that my mother, among her students, oddly enough, counted George Martin. She taught George Martin the
Really?
oboe long before I had any affiliation with the Beatles or anything to do with that. It was one of those strange coincidences.
That's amazing.
So when she met George later on, you know, you know, I didn't know that I'd forgotten that
Wow.
he'd learned from my mum, and so later on when he entered our lives, because the Beatles we became friendly with the Beatles and so on, and then we sort of, oh, it's George, you know.
No, and then if your mother weren't a music teacher, we wouldn't have the Beatles. So
Well, not quite. I mean, but George,
that's how I'm seeing it.
well, what actually happened was apparently he was at the Guildhall. My mum was professor at the Royal Academy.
My mom went to Guildhall.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, so did George, and my mum was oboe professor at the Royal Academy up the road.
Oh, yeah.
But at the Guildhall, you apparently have to have a second instrument. And George was doing composition and arranging as his primary whatever. But he also did play the oboe. And he was looking for an oboe teacher to brush up his oboe so it was up to snuff. So somebody recommended Margaret Elliott's my mother's maiden name, as who taught part-time private and was a professor at the academy. And that's how he ended up meeting my mother. So I think, yeah, it might have had the Beatles, but that producer wouldn't have been an oboe player.
I'm sure that was a really good tool to have.
I think so, yes. Yeah. Although he didn't use oboes that much on his records.
Oboe is like the hardest instrument. That is a very, very difficult instrument.
I played it for a bit. It's hard to make a noise in the first place.
Well,
it sounds like a goose, you know, or something.
It's the violin of the winds.
That's right. That's right. And
technically tough.
And of course, the instrument responsible for the tuning of the entire orchestra. You know,
high responsibility.
The beginning of a concert when you heard a lonely A, that's the oboe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have perfect pitch?
Did he make reeds? I do.
Yeah, my mum used to
I
make.
have a Chinese mom, of course.
I was going to say, was that an A? Yes, probably.
I think so. I don't know, maybe not.
Yes, my mother did make reeds. Yeah, the house.
Did you have just like little things all over your house?
Yes, exactly, exactly, and the little red thread that they used to bind the reed, you know, the little red cotton stuff.
That's
all that stuff, and little scrapey things, and it looks like.
I'm pretty happy I chose cello. I did choose cello though because my mom's a violinist, and I thought that if I chose a different instrument, she wouldn't be able to teach me.
Oh, right.
That is why I play cello. But I was really wrong. She still taught me. And it was worse because I was like, you don't know what you're talking about. She was like, yes, I do. I'm a violinist.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah.
So who was your first cello teacher?
My first cello teacher was a cellist called Margaret who's in the Iceland Symphony.
Oh, right.
All my cello teachers played on Forget Me Not, which was mortifying. Because I stood in front of them and I was like, I'm not one of you. I'm very low beneath you. I was like, I am not conducting this. This is not my song.
It's funny because I did, you know, my first impression of you, meeting you and everything, and then subsequently watching you on the occasional interview, and I watched some other odds and ends, like watching you have a hot sauce eating competition with.
You watched that?
With Claro. Yeah, exactly. We learned a lot. No, of course. I just sort of was poking around, see what I could find.
That's proper research.
And my impression of you was that overall you seemed incredibly happy, and I don't just mean. I mean partly because you smile a lot, which you do very charmingly, but then, and I don't just mean happy because you got a gazillion streams or whatever it is, but you just seem like, you know, overall you're a happy person.
Oh, I feel pretty happy. How could I not? I get to live my dream every single day, and no matter the ups and downs that I often sing about, it's very hard for me to not realize that I get to do exactly what I want every single day, and that's a true gift. So
it's true. No, I'm very lucky that I've got the same thing. Did you ever want to pursue any other careers or anything? Did you have a fallback position?
You know, I actually took like a economics major in high school because I duped myself into thinking I was good at math. And I had a Chinese mother. Have a Chinese mother. She's
Right.
but no, I never wanted to do anything that wasn't out of that wasn't a backup plan out of fear. I think music is always, I always felt that when I wanted to take a step in a different road, I was always pushed back onto the road of music. I applied to so many universities for economics, which is I'm really bad at math. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. I'm good at memorizing things, so I would just like memorize equations and then but it only gets you so far because I didn't understand what was happening. But I applied to so many economics programs and one music program, and that one music program was the only one that gave me a full scholarship to be able to come here.
So that settled it.
And even then, I was like, I don't think, like, it's still too expensive because I thought I'd have to pay for a living, and so I told them no, and then they gave me the extra scholarship that covered living costs.
Right.
So I kind of always felt like no matter what, I was being pushed back into the road of music. And then my mom always thought I was going to be a pop star.
Really?
This
That's
is the
amazing.
least Chinese mother part of her.
I was going to say that.
She wanted me to be delusional constantly. She always said, "You're not delusional enough." I didn't want to drink in high school. And I have this distinct memory of her sitting at the dining table being like, "Is there something wrong with you? Do you have friends?" And she was like, "Just try it." I remember this so well. And she always wanted me to jump and take big chances. And I was like, I think I need to study something practical. And my mom was like, "No, you're a pop star." She's like, go, write, make music.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm
As
really
you say,
fortunate.
the traditional Chinese, our vision of a Chinese mother is that they want you
go to economics, yeah.
Exactly.
Which my sister did. So honestly, she may have taken that fall for me, but now she's my creative director. So
And she's an
look at
amazing-
us now.
That's so cool, yeah. And she's a terrific violinist.
And we all still suck at math.
But economists don't. I mean, economists look at the big picture. You listen to an economist talk on television or something, they say the vaguest stuff, and they cover themselves every which way.
Yeah, that's the performance art. That's the performance art of it. But yeah. So maybe I could be an economist. It's just about going on stage and singing lies.
Exactly. Right. We can start writing songs about economics.
I think like 3 people would listen.
A limited audience, right? Exactly. We could go and you could go and perform at some economics convention at the international.
Yeah. Do you know what my dad does?
No, I was about to ask you that.
He's an economist.
Yes. Oh, fantastic. And which career did he think you should choose?
Music.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. So, and is he an amateur musician as well?
He
just a
loves
fan?
music, and he has a beautiful singing voice, which he's never publicized. But he loved jazz music. He loves the Beatles. Loves world music, bossa nova. All of that I learned from him. So
Fantastic.
I'm just a mix of my mom and dad, except for the economics bit.
That's great. Well, no wonder you're happy. You come from a happy family, it sounds like. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds kind of perfect. Well, congratulations on the album again.
Thank you so
I think it's
much.
brilliant.
Thank you.
Has everybody heard it yet? Or because it's out
It's out on Friday.
on Friday. But great. It's fantastic.
A lot of it's leaked. So
I know. It has.
No, I didn't leak all of it. Some of it wasn't me. It was like half of me.
I've only had mine for a couple of days, but I haven't leaked anything yet. So it's too late, I guess.
Yeah, maybe it was you.
No, it isn't. But anyway. But thank you so much. This has been a pleasure.
Thank you so
And I
much.
think-
I'm so honored.
It's really fascinating, and I remain a huge fan. And I think now at this point we're going to take questions. Is that correct?
Yeah, so we're going to do a few questions.
Math.
Start right here.
So
Hi. Do you remember the day or the time of your life when you picked up the cello and decided you didn't have to use it just for classical music? And
I do.
how did mom feel about that?
My mom thought it was amazing. She, I had just started at Berklee College of Music, and I had a professor his name was Mike Block. He would stand and play the cello at the same time. And I thought, what? You can do that?
Are you allowed to do that? Right?
Are you allowed to do that? Yeah,
right,
it was.
right.
It was. My
That was the
Berklee
thing.
years were just me being like, "Am I allowed? Can I do that?" I
Right.
really wish I would have just not asked so many questions. But I remember I told him. He asked me, "What do you want to do?" Because I was actually a cello principal. That's how you get the scholarship. You play an instrument that nobody there plays, but yeah, he asked me, what do you do? What do you want to do? And I said, I don't. I'm a jazz singer and a classical cellist, but I want to write my own music. And he said, why don't you sing and play? And I'd never seen anyone sing and play at the same time. And he was like, it's totally possible. And so I spent a year learning how to play chords on cello, and there were many exercises and drills that will haunt me to the day I die. One of them I remember was just like playing like da 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 dum, and then like just going through the circle of fifths. But yeah, I remember thinking, oh wait, this isn't only a classical instrument. It's so much more than that. It's a I can play chords on it. I can sing, and it's actually not in the way of my breathing. So it's a very versatile instrument. And yeah, so that was, and my mom loved it.
Yeah, because jazz cello is relatively rare, but I mean,
It is rare.
Oscar Petrofit, I guess, was
There's like a couple, but not enough.
exactly.
There should be more.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, that is a T-shirt from my very first concert.
It is.
Did you go to that one?
I did, and I've been to every LA show since.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, well, so lovely to be reunited.
It's amazing to be here, and it's been so great hearing more about your just like classical upbringing and the album. On that note, I did want to ask, kind of related to that question, being classically trained, studying at Berklee, all the like rules and theory and just the structure that comes from studying music classically, did you ever feel like that like hindered your pop songwriting, or was there kind of a mindset shift where it gave you a little bit more of an edge?
It definitely hindered me at first because I had trained to become. I was such a good rule follower. And I was so used to kind of pleasing my elders, whether it was teachers or my parents or my grandparents, like musically. You spend years and years and years playing a note, looking at your professor, and them being like, or, okaying it or not, and then you change. So you create this system within yourself where you're always waiting for validation before you move on. And that can be really damaging, I think, when you're creating your own music, because I think all innovative music, all interesting music comes from just going straight through that wall of questioning. So it was definitely really hard. It took me so long to understand that it was not, that I could break rules and that no one was going to judge me. Or maybe they did, and I should just not care. And I really don't think it was until this year where I was just like, whatever.
And I think that is gradually changing. It's the difference between this is the way we do it.
Yeah.
And you're not allowed to do it any other way.
Yeah. Now when I have like a question in my head of, whether I'm allowed to do it or not, I'm like, yes, I found something. Like, I'm onto something.
And even in classical music, they've changed. You can play the cello multiple ways and make weird noises with it. And,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm like, when I see a rule, no, when I identify a rule now, I'm like, how can I break this in an interesting way? So it takes a really long time, and it's all confidence-based. It's all about finding the confidence within yourself. So all the artists I look up to from the past, whether it's classical composers, jazz musicians, pop musicians, songwriters, they were all breaking so many rules and pissing so many people off. So
Yeah, and people get angry too.
People get very angry.
Which is weird. I mean, why would you be angry? So
It is,
someone
but-
wants to make a weird noise or pour things in the piano, or
I know.
it's like, fine. Does it sound good? Do you like it?
And sometimes it doesn't even sound good, but it's cool.
I know exactly. Yeah, punk cello remains to be seen.
Yes, exactly.
Hi, over here.
Oh, hi.
Hi. Kind of on the same subject of breaking rules and genres. When you were coming into the industry, did you find it hard to get other people on board and like the decision makers to allow you to kind of create your own sound in the way that you have?
Yeah, great question. I mean, yes and no. In the very beginning, I was just posting a lot on social media, and there's no moderator in social media other than yourself. So I was just kind of gathering an audience online across many different platforms, and I can do whatever I want there. And I really noticed so early on how whatever I did, my audience seemed to let me do. There were lots of people in the industry who I don't think believed very much in it and thought it was kind of weird. I mean, I guess their job is to take safe, risk-free decisions, right? And there's nothing about me that feels like a risk-free decision up until maybe now, because I guess I've proved it. But it is really funny seeing people turn around and be like, "Oh, I get it now." And I'm
I
like,
think
what do you mean you get it now?
That may have been when COVID came to your aid in a funny way, because since it kept you on your own.
Exactly. It kept me isolated. Like, I wasn't trying
No
to
one's
go
gonna
out
mess
and
with you,
play
right,
shows.
right.
Yeah, I was just at home and had this safe vacuum. And by the time I had moved out here and was like looking at record deals and publishing deals, it was like I walked in with my audience, which is why I'm so thankful for the fan base I have, because it has been, and this sounds very unromantic, but my negotiating power from the very beginning. I've been able to say, like, you're going to let me make exactly the music I want, because this is what I want, along with all of these people who support me. And so, yeah.
And you were lucky enough. You were lucky enough to find a manager who gets it, and to be able to make a record deal where they agreed to leave you alone.
I have an amazing team, amazing manager, Max, who I've been with from the beginning, who, to his credit, like I was like, he was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know, like a mix of classical and jazz, and I want to play cello and I want to sing, but I also want to play with orchestras, but also like I want to make pop music. And he was like, okay. And never once has anyone told me on my inner team to do something differently or change my sound or release this song instead of that one. I'm always at the helm of that decision and always supported. And so I feel very, very thankful for that too. Yeah. A good team is very important. And it's okay to be your own team until you find those people. That was another thing that took me a while. You know, when I first started gaining an audience and people started coming towards me, and it never felt right. So, you know, I kind of did everything on my own for a little bit. The first 2 songs I had, I just like uploaded myself onto the internet, and that's okay too.
No, that's what's so great about the music business now, as composed
Just don't
to
sign
20
anything.
or 30 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, you can do that. You can do enough on your own
you can do
to get going.
You can
know.
really do it for a long time.
Yeah,
Just don't sign anything without a team.
absolutely.
We're going to do one more question. Hi.
Hi.
What was a moment where you realized that you made it as an artist?
Ooh. I feel like there have been so many moments, because I remember like the first time I got to play a concert where I sold tickets that our friend here went to. And I'm sure many of you, that felt like a I made it moment. And I would have been happy if my career ended right there. And then new things keep happening. So there have been so many moments, you know. I think...
And there will be many more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. There's so many. I feel like every day there's something new and exciting. Like not a day goes by where I'm not excited about something, but...
Speaking of which, your first arena tour is coming shortly, right?
I know.
with
Crazy.
two Madison Square Gardens and two cryptos and this,
Yeah.
that, and the other. And
Crazy.
so will I. So will I.
It will be. Yeah, I'm really excited. I can't believe I get to play for so many people and bring them into my world like that. I really can't believe it. Like I don't really have the words for it, but I just feel so fortunate. Yeah. Love you. I love you all.
And I guess now we maybe could move on to the music. Is that right? Or do you need time to reset the stage, or does it seamlessly switch to? I wonder.
I think there is a bit of a
Somebody will tell us what
there's
to
a
do.
little bit of a break.
I would
We are
imagine
being
so.
beckoned off stage. Yes.
5-minute break, or whatever.
There's a little break.
Okay, we shall leave the stage. Thank you so much.
Chris,
Listen-
thank you. Thank you, Peter. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
No, thank you. I loved it. It's been an honor and a pleasure, and thank you. Great to meet all of you.